Well, it's time, guys. This is another merry and bright highlight. Not a full length episode, but every now and again, we just want to give you extra content, extra reviews, extra stuff to smile about. And so today we're bringing you a brief recap and a brief review of a brand new Hallmark Channel movie, Holiday Touchdown, a Chief's love story. So, Jennifer, what's the plot summary? What are we talking about in this one?
So, Alana Higman, a diehard Kansas City Chiefs fan, and her family are competing to win the team's Fan of the Year contest. Is in a process judged by the director of fan engagement, Derek, and it stars Hunter King, Tyler Hynes. We also get some other great guest stars with the parents and grandparents, the whole family. We have been hearing about this movie in some form or fashion since the after the Super Bowl this year. I mean, they did that. Remember, they did that little tease video promo for Kansas City Chiefs with Tyler Hines, and I think it was Janelle Parrish, wasn't it, as the female? Like, and they kind of spoofed a movie. The internet went crazy, and I don't know if this was the plan all along, but here we are. The movie's here.
The
It
movie
premiered
here.
Saturday after Thanksgiving. The premiere spot in Hallmark World. If you guys are new to all this, the Saturday night spot after Thanksgiving is like, I mean, it's the top dog.
It's
All the eggs are in all the baskets. Yeah, so
And so for
stakes are
context,
high.
stakes were high, and for context, this is the same time slot that a Biltmore Christmas had last year, and we saw all the buildup and all of the hysteria. It seems like every year Hallmark has one movie that they are literally putting all of their Christmas eggs in their Christmas basket and really using that to drive everything that's happening, and this was the one. So, what did you think, Jennifer?
So I was admittedly nervous about this movie for a few reasons. I'm not a sports ball fan, the old pigskin. I mean, I'm not like against it, so don't at me, but like I never played sports. We like my dad would watch football, but it wasn't like we had one team that we were so super passionate about. That wasn't a part of our traditions and history and all of that. I mean, we're in Nashville, so we've got the Titans, and if you know, you know. They're now I was a big football fan when they went to the Super Bowl that year, the Music City Miracle. I even got a jersey that year, so I'm
Everybody was.
familiar with that fan. Yeah. Um, so I was nervous about that. I was nervous all the previews were just a bunch of people yelling Chiefs. I was nervous about another Donna Kelsey acting, appearance because we saw her in Christmas on Call, and, I don't think acting's maybe her first love.
Not in her wheelhouse, no.
Maybe not. I was nervous about the Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce of it all. Is it just like a grab for that audience? The previews had nary a Christmas element to it, so I was very nervous, but I was like, "We're gonna watch it." Let me tell you, I loved this movie. I am borderline obsessed with this movie. Could not have enjoyed it more. What did you think, Josh?
Yeah, like you, I was very nervous about this, and I was thinking, "Why are we in Kansas City?" Like, it just didn't make sense. And then I realized, "Oh, wait, Hallmark is headquartered in Kansas City, has deep ties to the community." Obviously, I think you're right, they're trying to do the whole Taylor Swift, Kelsey thing there, and obviously I think they're trying to tell new stories. We've been talking about it all season, and this is very much a different kind of story. And like you, based on the previews, I was really nervous about this in terms of, is this even a Christmas movie? We didn't get any Christmas in any of the previews. They were really hitching their wagon to that whole Monday night football theme and all of the hysteria around football and all of the puns around all of that and touchdown and sports ball and the whole 9 yards, like you said.
Yeah.
And like you, I loved LOVED, this movie, and I'll tell you why. I just honestly thought it was perfect casting start to finish. I mean, I don't know if they even wrote these characters for these actors. It sort of felt that way because I loved her, I loved him, I loved them together, but even more so, I loved the people that they surrounded them with, the parents, the grandparents. It just was great casting through and through.
We get Ed Begley Jr. plays the grandpa, and who else? There are a bunch of these people. Megan Price was her mom. She's been in a bunch of shows. Diedrich Bader, like all these people you've seen in a thousand things. And so the premise is like, and it starts off basically, not to get into in the weeds, but her what grandparents families back in the olden days, had season tickets to the Chiefs games, and the boy and girl sat next to each other, fell in love. Then it kinda just kept going from there, and so these same tickets in different stadiums, but this same spot, these tickets have been in these families for generation upon generation. These families' love stories center around the Chiefs, and now her family owns, like, a Bobo Academy Sports just for Kansas City Chief garb, and in like it's a small town street and it's still very quaint. So they still check the boxes of typical Hallmark Christmas warm fuzzies, right? Like they're decorating the street to light the block thing, putting Christmas decorations out front. They're doing this, that, and the other. So I thought it had plenty of Christmas when it was all said and done.
Exactly.
Satisfied?
Absolutely. It gave me everything I wanted in terms of Christmasing. We got trees, we got traditions. I thought one of my favorite scenes involved just sitting around a fire pit and having eggnog and talking as a big extended family. It just and that's the other thing that I really liked about this. The script was so quippy and so fast and
Mhm.
so sharp and just kept me engaged the whole time. I can usually tell if I'm going to like a movie about two-thirds of the way through because if I'm starting to doze off or starting to look at my watch, that's telling me that the script really isn't keeping my attention. And this was a script that kept my attention the entire time.
Yeah, Julie Sherman Wolf wrote this one, and she did a fantastic job. So basically, Derek, played by Tyler Hynes, stumbles into the town to learn more about Kansas City because he's kinda newer to the area, and he works for the Chiefs, and he meets her and her family, he helps them decorate, and then turns out she has entered their store to be the fan of the year, and there were 2 other contestants, so they were in the final 3, so he was then when he realized that, he's like, "Oh, shoot, hey, by the way, I'm, like, one of the people kind of directing this whole thing," and she felt betrayed a little bit, but got over it. Anyways, it was them and then a cat named Catrick Mahomes for number 2, and then the third one was a house that goes all out with Chiefs holiday decor and Christmas lights, which I loved all of that. I thought all that worked. In the end, this family wins, partially because they have a magic beanie that they wear anytime they wear it if the Chiefs are playing. Now what is it? If the Chief they have to wear it Christmas Day for whatever game is around then, right? And if they are wearing the magic beanie on Christmas Day, even if the Chiefs aren't playing on Christmas Day, the Chiefs will win and presumably do well that season. So the at one point, Santa kinda gave grandpa the beanie back in the day. The beanie got lost. The beanie found its way back to him, and so there's this whole superstition with the beanie, and guess what? She loses the beanie at one point. What are we gonna do? Then it turns into like a Hallmark Movies and Mysteries, right? We can't find the beanie. What are we doing? And then in the end, the payoff was really sweet, but we can get to that in a minute. What were your favorite parts? If you had to pick like a couple highlights.
I loved the bits with Patrick Mahomes. I
Yeah.
laughed out loud so many times. It was a running gag almost throughout the entire movie because, this cat the premise of this whole cat upstaging the main story as sort of the fan of the year is just audacious and funny throughout, and so, at one point, she even shows up to this holiday party at Arrowhead Stadium for all the Chiefs staff, and what do you know, Patrick Mahomes is there, and we get a Patrick Mahomes cameo, and that cat does look exactly like Patrick Mahomes, so just so we're clear, it was brilliant the way that that was woven in, so I really liked that, and then I mentioned one of my other favorite scenes was that fire pit scene with the eggnog with all of the family sitting around and enjoyed, but I gotta tell you, there is a gesture that Tyler Hynes' character does for this family that just is the gut punch, and from an emotional perspective that I don't wanna give it away if folks haven't seen it, but it's just one of those where you watch it and you're just like, "Oh, now that is just really smart story development and really smart emotional payoff," and I think it was just one of probably the most tender moments that I've seen in a Hallmark movie, period, because it felt so earned and so genuine and just loved it.
I was obsessed with that scene and almost cried. I didn't cry, but like the pre-cry burn, your face kinda starts to tingle and you're like,
Jennifer, are you
"Sorry." Oh, well, I didn't know if you ever had the pre-cry, you just went straight streaming down your face, tears. I didn't know if it was just like an on-off switch. I get the pre-cry, like, where it's just like, "Is that sinus pressure or somebody chopping onions?" So I definitely had that, and I was almost coaxing myself, like, "Let it happen. If you need to cry, cry." And I didn't. I didn't do it, but it almost got me. It was the best scene of the movie by far. But I also really enjoyed the end scene in the stadium with the beanie payoff, and we won't give that away either, but there's a big payoff with the magic beanie with the whole stadium, and that is magical as well. Let's see. I wrote, "This isn't a movie, this is a film," with, like, a bunch of L's. I mean, it's just so much more elevated than, like and Hallmark always does a good job, but, some channels and networks try to do this Christmas movie thing, and it's definitely a made-for-TV movie.
Mhm.
This was quality top to bottom. The fashion, you got Keith Costumes doing the fashion with, like, the red peacoat, but it's part peacoat, but part jersey and the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Yeah, Letterman's jacket, I'm sorry, yes, and you've got Julie Sherman Wolf writing it's just the whole ensemble could not have been better. I was obsessed with it.
That's
Absolutely.
really well said because if you think about it, Jennifer, I don't know how you feel, but this could have been a movie that were it not on Hallmark Channel, this could have come out in theaters as a theatrical release, and I think would have been just as successful. I mean, it plays really well to the Hallmark
100%.
crowd, but I think it could have been a theater movie because it was done so well.
There were lots of little winks for the Hallmark crowd, though. Wes Brown has a cameo, and he's making drinks for them, and he
Really
makes
funny.
Tyler Hynes' character like a boot drink, and Tyler Hynes does this whole boot shot thing with his fans. It's a whole different, the Hynes know all about that, so that was funny. I liked when did you catch when they're outside of a movie theater at one point and the marquee says, like, "Coming soon," and it's, the Santa Summit and Unexpected Christmas, which both of them starred in, so I thought that was really funny. Um, what else? I mean, those were probably the highlights. I love their chemistry together. Oh, the other thing, the Santa keeps giving Tyler Hynes miniature candy canes, and Tyler Hynes, if you are new to him, he's chomping on a candy cane in basically every movie ever been in. If
Yeah.
it's not a candy cane, if it's an off-season movie and not Christmas, he's chewing on a toothpick. There's always something he's chomping on. So the fact that Santa kept giving him these little candy canes, I thought was hilarious.
The best part was what at one point he just pulls out handfuls of them and he's like, "I'm good. I'm good."
Yeah, I've got enough.
Oh gosh.
So
So, bottom line on this, Jennifer, for me, it was a home run. It was, well, not a home run. Let's call it a pick six. It is a pick six
oh, I was
with
gonna
a
say field
two-point
goal.
conversion. Yes, it was
Oh.
as good as anything I've seen thus far this season. Probably better than anything I've seen so far this season on Hallmark. Might be my number one so far for the season.
Okay.
And I think because it was great storytelling, great production, great casting, great story, gave me heartfelt moments, and really felt like a good Christmas movie at the end of the day. I would recommend it for anyone. Families, especially. This would be a good one to watch with the kids, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, my son started watching it with me until we got distracted by something else. I had to finish it later, but yeah.
Understood. Yeah.
Um,
What about you?
I think it was yeah. It was everything I wanted. That's the new Josh told me that about the Christmas charade, and I've made fun of him ever since, but I've also started incorporating it in my everyday life. Work stuff, this is everything I wanted. So feel free to use that, guys, that this movie was everything I wanted. Now, is it my number 1? I think it's the best qualitatively. Jingle Bell Run is still my personal favorite, like, as far as I would repeat watch it, but I would watch this, like, every year. I mean, it's gonna be in the rotation now. It was so good. It was so good, and I was so scared, and I was so wrong, and I'm so happy to say I was so wrong about it, so
And it's interesting. The female lead in this, her name's Hunter King, right?
uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah. We've seen her in a couple things now. I don't know how you feel. I feel like she's really grown into this sort of lead actress at Hallmark Channel, you know?
Yes.
It sort of feels like they're really investing in her as kind of the next sort of Lacey Chabert kind of Queen of Christmas sort of situation over there.
Yeah, I mean, the first time we reviewed a movie from hers was in 2022, A Royal Corgi Christmas, and we loved her, but that movie was not one of our favorites. Corgis were cute, she was great. Movie, not so much. And I remember us saying, "We like her." And then then she was in The Professional Bridesmaid.
That's right.
That's
That's
you.
true. Yeah.
And again, we liked her, the movie wasn't our favorite, but then Santa Summit last year was a knockout and my favorite of the year last year. So yes, I agree. She's just elevating all the time. I can't wait to see where she goes next. Tyler Hynes is always great, but to me, he had more charm this go around. Like, he was a little more toned down. He wasn't trying to be like bad boy on a motorcycle. He was just like, hey, guy in a new city, only child, didn't really have big family Christmases, and he was so captivated by her in a romantic level, but also wanting to be around the parents and the grandparents and just be surrounded by all this love at the holiday season. That was just really sweet. So I loved it. I don't even know how much more to gush about it, but great job to everyone involved. And that was another episode of Do You Watch What I Watch, the Marion Bright Highlight Edition. Thanks for joining us. Hey, if you like the podcast, subscribe on your podcast network, tell a friend, leave a 5-star rating and review. We ask you to do many things, but we're just glad you're here. So thanks for being here. Check out more of our reviews. We've got a lot coming and a lot that has been. So if you're just now starting to watch the movies, go back, catch up.
Yeah.
There's plenty of content here on our channel, and you can subscribe on YouTube too if you want to see our faces. La la. All right. So coming up, Josh, we've got a few movies on the docket. What are we talking about next?
Yeah, so we've got a big week coming up next week. We're going to have new episodes coming at you where we will recap and review The Christmas Quest, A Dance in the Snow, and Sugar Plumbed. So we've got 3 big ones coming your way on Do You Watch What I Watch next week. So as we continue our big march toward Christmas in the best time of the year and enjoying all kinds of fun with you, we just want to say we certainly hope that your days will be merry and bright. We'll see you next time.